There are 7 steps to approaching a difficult conversation. You're walking into work and it's like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I have to have this conversation. Or that conversation that's just been in the back of your mind, lingering, we just have to have it. But we avoid it because it's uncomfortable. Difficult conversations are part of life. We are all going to have them, whether it's with your children, a spouse, or your business partners, people that work for you, with you, you're going to have them. You will feel so much better. And the more you do this, you're going to realize it gets easier and easier to do. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Lisa D. Murphy, and this is Elevate Wellness. And today we are going to talk about difficult conversations. We've all had to have them, that dreaded conversation. You're walking into work and it's like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I have to have this conversation. Or that conversation that's just been in the back of your mind, lingering, and we just have to have it. But we avoid it because it's uncomfortable. And how do we typically go about it? I want you all to think about, how do you go into having a difficult conversation with someone? Do we avoid it at all cost? Do we use humor to cover up any vulnerability? Do we get angry and yell and scream? What are the different ways you go about having a difficult conversation? Is it, you better sit down and listen to me? Or, I want to hear what you have to say, but you don't really want to hear what they have to say because you just want to talk. So let's talk about, and this will be so incredibly helpful in all areas when you can really put this into place. So difficult conversations are part of life. We are all going to have them, whether it's with your children, a spouse, or your business partners, people that work for you, with you, you're going to have them. So there are 7 steps to approaching a difficult conversation. Number 1, it's the awareness about ourselves going into the conversation. So I know for me, in having a difficult conversation, if I am heated, it will not work because that is my personality, and I have to kind of dial that in. So self-awareness is key. If you're someone who's typically quiet and you go into that avoidant mode, that avoidance, is that going to work in having a conversation? Probably not. Or being a tyrant, or all of the ways that don't work for us probably are in the forefront when we are having a difficult conversation. So awareness about how we're feeling is key. And I always say, 3 deep breaths and probably a good night's sleep before having it. So number 1, self-awareness. Number 2, the context in which we're creating it. So think about all the ways in which I want to show up in having this conversation. The ways of being authentic, transparent, calm. How do I want someone to describe me? If we were being filmed, my private identity, we're being filmed having this difficult conversation, I would want somebody to say, well, she was poised, she was honest, she created space for the other person to be heard, she was generous with her listening. We really need to focus in on that. And that's why I think 24 hours and having it is always critical, or even longer, to really say, I need to embody this before I get into the conversation. And then where am I coming from, right? Still in the same context. Where am I coming from? Am I coming from a place of anger, righteousness, upset? What is the intention? So the intention is, how do I want this conversation to go? What do I want the end result to be? I need to show up as that in the beginning. So generous with my listening, most likely caring. If this is a meaningful conversation, if it's difficult, it has to be meaningful. So to really put all that into context. Body language, still under context. Am I sitting like this and I'm closed and my body is shut down and my face is tight and my body is tight because I'm already putting up a wall, which is saying to that person, I don't care what you have to say. I'm not listening. Or am I open to receiving what they have to say? Body language in a difficult conversation is critical. Declare that it's going to be difficult. Hey, I know this is going to be hard. I wasn't looking forward to it. And I'm sure you feel the same way. Just putting it on level playing field so that somebody doesn't feel you're coming at them or you're coming down on them, but that you're honoring the space that this is difficult for both parties. Give the agenda. I'd like to discuss A, B, C, and D, and I'm hoping that we can come to this kind of a resolution. So really putting the agenda out there doesn't blindside people. We're not coming at them. Hey, listen, I know this went on. This is what I want to discuss. Here are the things that are important for me to understand. Are you open to that? So really coming up with the agenda. And then what is the objective? Is it just to get it off your chest? Is it to open up the lines of communication? Is it to have an concrete end result? This is what I'm hoping to get out of this conversation. I want you to feel heard. I know I need to feel heard. And I'm hoping that we can then ... So really giving that objective. And then asking the other person, how do you feel about that? I want to hear your point of view. What you have to say and the way you see it is important for me. And you guys, it is important. Whether this conversation is monumental or it's a tiny little one, you're going to need that feedback down the road as we continue to show up bigger and better. So understanding somebody else's viewpoint in how we show up and how we react is vitally important. It's the best feedback we can get because those are the areas in which we need to kind of round out and to become a better version of ourselves. So asking for their point of view and then acknowledge one thing that's working. I'm so happy that we're at least sitting down and we're talking about this and we're not shouting at each other. Do you agree? You just acknowledge something that's working. I'm so glad that we're both mature adults and we can actually have a conversation about this. So that's all in the context of this difficult conversation. And then number 3, let's describe the problem, not the person. It's never, you did this. That's not part of a difficult conversation. That's you coming at somebody. So the challenge is ... We have a time that we expect everybody to be in the office and a time that everybody should be leaving the office. Is there something that is getting in the way of that happening for you? So to really come from a place of questioning and not make somebody feel like they are on the hot seat. So it's describing the issue, not the person. I realize there's a breakdown in our communication. That's upsetting to me. How you feel is important to me. It's not, when you do this, I feel that. That is going to cause someone else to completely shut down. And what we want to do is have somebody open up and come to some kind of a resolution. So number 4 is then state the impact that this challenge and the reason why we're having this conversation, state what is happening to the relationship, to the organization as a result of whatever the issue is. And typically I find in difficult conversations, it's not one thing that happened to make it be a difficult conversation. It's typically a lot of things that added up. And then it's like, now we really have to hit this head on. So to describe how it's affecting the whole situation. When we're not good, I'm not focused on work the way that I could be. I can imagine you're not either. Typically in relationships with significant others or spouses or children or family environment, when that's not going well, we don't have the same drive and the same energy that we should at work. So let's fix it, right? It's not being right. I never want to be right with Mark in like, I'm right, you're wrong. I want to be right that our relationship is better. Hence, getting married again at this age and blending a family, there are a lot of difficult conversations that had to be had, but the intention was something that we both wanted. This is something that's very important to me. Is that also important to you? Okay, here's the things that I'd like to discuss. This is why I feel they're important to discuss. Is that important for you as well? Having that agenda. Same thing with my team. So that end result. And then really understanding the impact of these constant breakdowns and how they spill in all areas of your life. And you guys, you can take everything to the next level if you start hitting the difficult things head on. So now it's really listening to that other person's point of view. This is number 5. I really want you to be heard. This is the hardest thing to do. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth. And this is not listening with, that's not true. That didn't happen. You're wrong. I'm right. It's listening from their perspective and understanding they see it this way, and to really just listen. You don't even have to say anything. Just acknowledge that you understand what they're saying is important to them, and through their eyes, that's how they see it. So it's really, I can understand that's your point of view. I get that. I understand that. It doesn't mean you're accepting it. It means you accept hearing it from them. And there's a difference. So really understanding somebody else's point of view, I want to hear it from I want to see it through your eyes. And then both people making a clear request. I would like to request that you continue to show up on time, that you make me feel like I'm a priority in this relationship by A, B, C, and D. One of the things I learned in a second marriage is I have zero expectations that he knows how I want to be treated. He has no idea. I have to say this, when you do this, I feel that. And it's very easy. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't see that before. That was a blind spot for me. I didn't even realize that mattered. But if I think about it enough, he's going to get it through osmosis. It's never going to happen. And then then I'm going to be resentful. Same thing in business. We're not mind readers. Tell people, I have a clear request. This is what I would like from this. Does that work for you? And a clear request is being very clear about what it is that you want to make the relationship or the situation be better. And then ask them, what is their request? And when we're having this conversation with somebody we work with or somebody we care about, there's not a lot of room for anger because we're coming from a place of openness and understanding. And even at this moment in time, this person's going to quit or this relationship is going to end or whatever it is, we are better. We're better people for being able to communicate like this. The difference between animals and humans, we can communicate. We can use words. We can use feeling and emotion when having a conversation. And isn't it to elevate, right? Elevate in all areas of our life, to have somebody say, I really feel like you heard me. And that just made me feel so much better. Thank you for listening. So to really want people to describe us like that and show up as that. So make that clear request. And then offer support for what had happened. I realized that was very difficult for you. Ways in which I feel maybe I can help you would that help you? If I said this, would that make you feel better? Would that help you to not have this breakdown happen again? So really ask, how can I support you to have that outcome? What are things that I can do to bring it to your attention without you feeling like I'm coming at you or I'm telling you what to do? I use this with my kids a lot. What are ways in which you feel I'm supporting you? And then what are ways in which you feel like, Mom, you're trying to control the situation? Because I don't know, I don't have a little book and I go, oh, okay, chapter 17, line 8. It tells me how to be a parent of an 18-year-old boy. So I ask him, how do you know when you feel supported by me? What are the things that I say or do? And I've learned in difficult conversations, what always works is in listening, in really having somebody else feel valued, feel heard, and being very, very clear about the outcome. And if it feels incomplete, I will say, I don't really feel like we were able to get this resolved. I'd like to revisit this. Are you open to that? Because sometimes we'll walk away and we have all this down, right? Or like, I'm going to go into this being this way, and this is what I expect. But that person is distracted. They're on their phone. Something else happened. It's not the right time. They thought they were going to be able to sit with you, but they can't. And then you can say, can we please revisit this? This feels incomplete for me. I don't feel like we really got anywhere together. And again, it's not, you're not listening. It's a very different come from. And when we go at the speed in which we all go at, and we're managing a lot of people in business, at home, friends, inside, outside, every which way, if we don't clean up each space, you guys, it starts to break down. I remember going to a workshop many years ago, and somebody saying, if you're always angry, you're always on edge, you're just constantly complaining. Guys, that's how these bad cells starts. They start in the body. It's from taking all of that in. So it's really working to the best of our ability to keep a nice clean space in all areas so that we can move freely from one domain, family, personal relationships, business, et cetera, at the speed of light to elevate our lives. I hope this was helpful. What I'd love for all of you to do is take a minute and think about those conversations that need to be had, that you're putting off, that are not working, that you feel, the feelings below the line, resentful, frustrated, angry, you're starting to shut down. You know, when you don't want to look at somebody, you feel that wall of energy you're putting up. Okay, that is showing up in other areas of your life. It's depleting you. So write down a list of all of the areas in which you're like, I really need to have this conversation with this person and clear that space. And I promise you this, you will feel so much better. And the more you do this with your kids, with your business partners, with your team, with your family, you're going to realize it gets easier and easier to do. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Once again, I'm Lisa D. Murphy. Please click like and subscribe to my channel if any of this information has been helpful. Signing off. Thanks for joining.